set in our manifesto a developmental and transformative macroeconomic policy, a caring social policy, as we have demonstrated through our social security net programs, and deepening those, including an advance in universal basic income grant and its immediate implementation, and the immediate implementation of the national health insurance to guarantee quality health care for all our people. We also want to comment on the experiences faced by the IEC. We want to first commend the IEC for its role in delivering successful elections once more. But the IEC experienced deeply concerning issues, including major technological breakdowns, which contributed to delays in the voting process and system downtime disruptions, particularly during the counting process. An investigation into why these issues occurred is essential. This investigation must include examining where the IEC sourced the technology it used, for instance, and if it was used from another country, for instance. We need to assess that country's attitude and its current relations with ours at present. And therefore, we will also call for state to, in the future, rely on its own technology. We have got capacity in this country to drive our own technological development. The investigation in this regard is crucial to prevent future disruptions and secure the credibility of our elections and safeguard our national democratic sovereignty. Thank you very much. We will end here as a draft statement, as we indicated that a fully fledged statement will be issued later on in the day. I hand it over back to you, Dr. Alex Mashilo. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, GS. I will now take this opportunity to invite clarity-seeking questions from members of the media present here tonight. You will be the first one, you will be the second one, and I'm looking for a gender balance. You will be the third one, you will be the first one. You will be the first one, you will be the second one, you will be the third one. I'm sure you will appreciate the rules. Great. Is there any further hand? Let's take the three for now, simply because we have not interacted for a while, if I may say so. The last time we had a press conference was in December. In December. And then GS and Mr. Chair, if I may say this, there has been a series of resignations in the media from one house to another. So sometimes when you know that Alex is working for that media house, because of that they were changing. So I will ask you to just introduce your name and the media house you come from, and then put your questions. Thank you. Seswa Jalapi.
Good afternoon, it's Ndandi Tugwana at Bloomberg News. I just wanted to find out what the implications will be from an SACP standpoint if a coalition is formed with parties that you don't want to be part of the formation of government, and how you will communicate that with the ANC if that does happen.
Thank you.
Puleli Treaty Jones from ENCA. When will you be writing to the ANC regarding this potential move of having to include the DA, the National Government of Unity? Because they had a press briefing today and it seems as though they have been talking with several parties, and some of the DA are saying that talks are at an advanced stage as well. So when will you be communicating this with the ANC? And just a reaction on today's court case, former Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, Zizi Kodwa, being formally charged for being implicated in corruption charges related to State Capture Commission information that was presented there. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
From Mr. Mathaida, you are mentioning possibly mobilizing the working class. I just wanted to understand that properly, that if you don't get your way with this demand, did I understand you correctly to say we're going to mobilize in which fashion? Against the protest against the government, protest against the ANC? And tied to that, my second question, why does the party need to convey this desire through a press conference? Is there no internal platform within the alliance where you can say to the ANC, this is our view?
Thank you, Carvalho. GS and the National Office Bearers, there are the questions.
No, you go ahead, JS. We'll come in if necessary. Otherwise, you normally represent us quite adequately.
No. Firstly, let's say that, starting with the last question, you remember the elections results were announced Sunday evening. On Monday, we were able to meet as the SACP officials, and we also had a meeting of the Alliance Secretariat. So there's been consultation of the Alliance. We are in constant consultation with our allies. So there's no problem with that. What we are saying is, and that's why we are expressing it here, because we want to dispel this notion of secret deals so that we are not attached to it. With many permutations being created, particularly by a dominant trajectory from the newsroom that is against the liberation forces. This dominant trajectory, by the way, has not changed even during the election. It continues to redirect the ANC to a particular idea. But it's very important to appreciate that we accept this setback that we have suffered as a liberation forces, and that we have been humbled by our people. But equally, our people did not endorse these right-wing parties. They were overwhelmingly rejected. And that's why it will be a tragic mistake when the people have rejected these neoliberal forces to go and cavort with them and create a coalition with them. They have no role except to take responsibility for the dire needs that our people are faced with today from an economic perspective. So in that case, we will, of course, we are an independent organization within the framework of the alliance. We will continue our mobilization of the people, even to reverse these realities on the ground going forward. Of course, we will, the ANC is having a special NEC tomorrow. We hope that meeting is still going on. We will share with the Secretary General our ideas in this regard. We do understand that everybody now needs the ANC, including the DA itself. But the DA needs the ANC to maintain status quo of capitalist domination of our economy, an unaccountable economy. We think we've passed that period now, and the masses have punished us for too long, beholden to the interest of capital in this country, which has not delivered to the masses of our country. In fact, many achievements in this case are from the public sector economy, from the government, whether it's social security net that we have extended to our people through housing and many other forms of grants that the DA and its forces have condemned over the years when they have not done any other thing that is alternative. So it's important that our rejection of this, our class adversary, is as clear as daylight. With regard to the point that you just raised, we heard it, my phone was off. I just hear that there might be a possibility for Comrade Zizi Kotwa to appear in court this morning, which are now confirming that it did happen. We'll have to look into what was it that he was charged about. But it's also important to say that whilst we were officially, of course the media do not want to give us this credit, by the way, we were officially the first people to call for state capture commission, if you like, or inquiry into allegations of corruption at a state level. When we were raising issues against a government led by President Zuma, which was cavorting with reactionary forces who were looting the public resources. And we said it clearly that they were the elephant in the room, that we needed to deal with the Gupta issue and others of their associates. We were confronted that we have no evidence. That's why we said, if you want evidence, create a commission. You will get all the evidence. Of course, the public protector, then Advocate Chiluma Donzela, after receiving a query, went on an investigation, came to the same conclusion as ours, and the many legal wrangles that then former President Zuma tried to avoid setting up this commission. We, of course, we have expect nothing perhaps from the media to praise the Communist Party. It's not possible. But tell the truth. So, to the extent that this may arise as a consequence of that, it's very important that any other possible action for anyone to account, it's important. It's also critical to raise the fact that we do know that there are forces of reaction, forces of the opposition, that have made their own responsibility to destabilize the liberation movement, to condemn every other action of various of our leaders through the court process. But the court will have to absolve them. So if a matter of this nature is taken, Comrade Zizi must go and appear before court, absolve himself, prove himself innocent. And I don't think we should judge him guilty before he has completed the court process. In fact, if anything, we should commend the ANC for accepting the rule of law, that all its senior leaders, members of the NEC and so forth, can be subjected to the same process as ordinary South Africans. But what is important is also to guard against this nefarious agenda to destabilize the African National Congress, even by spurious charges that are thrown in all the time, just so that it destabilizes the ANC, even if ultimately this trial, some of them we have seen, they are never ending. They run forever. And we must avoid that possibility. I hope I've responded to all the questions. If I've left anything, I think other officials can deal with that.
No, Pala, you haven't left anything. Perhaps it's just to underline in relation to the question that, because I'm not saying that's what you are saying, but it could be read as if we have convened this press briefing because we want to influence the ANC. That's not the intention at all. As the General Secretary has said, we are engaging with the ANC. But it is very important as an independent political organization that we ourselves pronounce on the issue of the elections and also state our own views about whatever possible coalitions. To us also it's a contribution to being transparent. We don't want to be second-guessed as the SACP as to what our views are on these particular matters. It's not aimed at influencing anyone other than to state our own position, and as the GS has said, what is paramount in our own mind are things that are in the interest of the working class and the poor in our country. Thanks.
We have Okay, let's take Howell's question and close afterwards if there is no follow-up or an additional question.
No, Kaugele, thank you very much. Firstly, for correcting yourself, because you said MK and later on MK Party. It's important to say MK Party. I'm a former member of MK, the Liberation Army of the ANC and its allies. So I don't want to give away my right to have belonged to that glorious People's Liberation Army by associating myself every time you say MK to a party, a counter-revolutionary party that is sought to destroy the liberation forces in this country. So it's important that we distinguish that. There's MK Party. I still have the right to belong to MK and to talk about MK, the Liberation Army that, of the ANC and its allies that liberated this country. So we can't dictate to the ANC who they should talk to. They have the right to talk to anyone to set up any possible arrangement. What is critical for us is that this arrangement, as we've highlighted, should be embedded by a programmatic focus, not just sharing of positions. The focus on mass employment, the focus on immediate implementation of the national health insurance, the focus on the basic income grant, the focus on macroeconomic strategy, so that we use our resources effectively to respond to the dire needs of the working class and the people as a whole in our country. Obviously, when you focus on that, you have already eliminated the neoliberal forces. If the MK Party engaging with the ANC come to the conclusion to support them in this framework, the ANC has the right to do so. But we have characterized them as a counter-revolutionary organization. And this was reaffirmed even by our analysis today as the SACP. So that stands. Our position to them still stands. You don't destroy the liberation movement and proclaim yourself a progressive organization. On what basis? They have weakened us in this process. So, but it's water under the bridge. They've been voted by the people. It is up to us to expose who they are, to unmask them. We hope that quite soon, as they take over the leadership in KwaZulu-Natal province, they will distinguish themselves or they'll expose themselves. The people will judge them.
Thank you very much. Are you having a follow-up? I can see the one. I hope it is not deflection.
No. Just clarity around the parliamentary list as well. Just your view as SACP in terms of how you view yourself being able to advance your views and ideas and having some of your members on that list and eventually into cabinet as well.
No, Father, you are the best to comment on that.
Look, there's no doubt that we have a reduced majority now in Parliament. We'll be looking into this matter quite certainly. Like we have said, despite this reduction, we are still the majority party. That no one at the moment, unless it's an extreme possibility of a complete sellout positions, even by the counter-revolutionary forces that have gained votes by attacking us, that can establish government. So we still look into our engagements within the framework of the alliance with our ally, the ANC and COSATU and SANCO, on how we move forward in setting up government. But the priority now is to make sure that we are able to create general stability in the country and set up government headed by the ANC. On that basis, that's a framework that will be contributing ideas to the ANC going forward and to the rest of our allies from that particular perspective. Any other thing, we'll deal with that. We're not here to talk about positions. We're here to talk about programmatic basis of how to respond to the crisis in the working class and how to discipline capital that for long had too much to itself in this country. How to shake off our trepidation and fears against capital and confront it. This is our country. And not allow populist forces to be the one that takes up the agenda of the liberation forces and make it their own. So this is the main challenge facing us today. So we are focusing on that, but through setting up government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to... Okay, there is a caucus there. Can you allow it? Okay. Are you sure? Okay. You see, Comrade Tulas, before I close the press briefing, if you make that point after we have closed it, we deploy you to the studio at the program starting at 10 p.m. to communicate that point to the nation. Thank you very much, colleagues from the media. We really had to call you today. The reason was that we were inundated with calls asking us where we stand on these issues. And we thought that just issuing a statement without talking to it will leave gaps. So I'm very happy with your engagement this evening, and I wish to thank you for honoring our invitation. Much appreciated. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Comrade Alex.